So, shout out to whoever recommended Sting to me because I can't find your comment. I was trying to go back and find the comment and attribute you, but someone recommended me to watch Sting because I was like, I'm probably not going to watch this. Um, and I'm so fucking glad I did. Because spiders do not scare me, right? I love spiders. I love most creepy crawlies. I used to have a pet scorpion named Diablo, who was just the coolest little dude. As an Aussie, I grew up with a mum who taught us how to catch and release spiders so we didn't have to kill them. And of course, Steve Irwin taught me that spiders are built in friendly pest control, not enemies. So when someone recommends me a spider creature feature, I'm always a bit worried as they don't scare me, so I'm not going to get scared by the film. And I also don't really want to see them get squished left and right because I like them. I like spiders. They're my homies. Um, Sting is the perfect mix for me, though. I don't know if I was just in the right mood for a campy creature feature because I haven't seen one in a while, or if I had low expectations or whatever. But this was so fucking good, and I had so much fun. This movie nailed like the 90s creature feature vibe, almost like Goosebumps, or the sort of tone like Jumanji, or do you remember the who's the guy in California, David Duchovny movie Evolution? Like it's that sort of vibe. Like it's quite funny. It's a tighter, more contained version of those movies, but it's got homages to Alien, Predator, and The Thing thrown in. And I had such a good time watching this fucking movie. I was so stunned at how much I like this movie. Also, Noni Hazlehurst is in this movie. For those who don't know, like most people outside of Australia, I assume, Noni Hazlehurst is one of the queens of play school in Australia. So seeing her popped into Sting would be like seeing Mr. Rogers pop up in an indie slasher film. Like it's fucking. It was. I was like, holy shit, is that Noni Hazlehurst? It is. It is Noni Hazlehurst. Sting takes place in a New York City apartment block that is filled with all sorts of the usual tropes of the 1990s creature features. There's an evil tight ass of a landlord, a vague elderly tenant who says funny shit. There's a young struggling family. It's the daughter of this young struggling family, Charlotte. Get it, like the web. Um, who is the protagonist of this film. And Charlotte's a teenager who likes spooky paraphernalia, comics, and crawling through building vents for some harmless B&Es on her unsuspecting other family members that live in the building. One day during one of these low-level crim activities, she stumbles across a small spider that, unbeknownst to her, has shot down from the clouds like a meteor, smashed a window, and landed in the building. Charlotte sees this little creature and decides, great, I'm going to take it for a pet. I'm going to feed it and love it. And she takes it back to her apartment. And because she's an avid Tolkien fan, she names it Sting, which I love. Quickly, she realizes, though, that Sting has a voracious appetite and is capable of a lot more than most spiders, including vocal mimicry and the ability to grow twice its size every day. Sting, of course, escapes. Otherwise, we wouldn't have a fucking movie, would we? And wreaks absolute havoc on the pets and tenants in the building. And I did not expect this movie to go as hard as it did, but it's really good. There are some kills in this movie that are like downright gruesome. Sorry about that. One happens in a bathroom, and I actually was like, wow, after it. Like, I did not expect it to go this hard. I'm glad they didn't try to tone down the kills or something and try to get a PG rating, because there is a point at this movie where they could have done that, and the director and writer, Kiah Roache-Turner, just thought, fuck it, full send, we full send it. And I appreciate the hell out of that, thank you. This is a movie that also knows exactly what it's trying to be. It is intentionally campy, and every time I thought, is this trying to rip off, X movie? The character would then say a line from that movie, as in to say, like, yeah, dude, like, we're fans as well, don't worry, we know this is a rip-off. And I'm fine with that. As long as you acknowledge it, I'm good. I enjoyed it immensely. I don't mind if a movie's a little fun and silly as long as it knows it's going to be fun and silly. And this does, and it also respects your time at 90 minutes. I liked the relationship between Charlotte and her stepdad. I thought there were some very sweet scenes of him like panicking because he thought he'd like fucked up a bonding moment with her. My brother's a stepdad, and we've had that discussion many times. It's a very real feeling if you're a stepdad, I'm sure. They used practical effects for a lot of the spider shots, and they kept Sting in the dark or in vents, and they only showed it glancingly for the most parts of the movie. And I think that gave it a really good. It's like a not so serious version of Aliens, really. Like shit's coming out the vents and people are screaming, and it's fucking good. It's fun. This was a fun movie. There is quite a bit of difference in the CGI and practical effects, though. Like you can tell when something's practical and when it's CGI, just because the practical effects are good. And there's a little bit of a drop in quality. But this is a small budget film, so I didn't go in expecting, fucking Avengers Endgame or some shit. You could also argue that the tenants are tropey and cartoony. Like, there's definitely like a Cruella de Vil-like character in this. But this is a campy movie, right? Like, this movie is supposed to be campy. The characters are therefore supposed to be campy. So I'm cool with it. If you want a bit of mindless fun, and you want to harken back to like 90s creature features I mentioned before, like this is the best one we've had in recent years. I can't think of one that's come close to this in recent years, just in terms of like funness. It's just a fun fucking movie. This is also just like a bit silly, and I can't wait until the kids in my family are old enough to see this, because I could see this being their Jumanji or Small Soldiers, or if a bit more hardcore than those, but like that. Like, I watch the fuck out of Small Soldiers. I watch the shit out of Jumanji. I watch the shit out of Mouse Hunt. Like all those sort of. It could fit in that vein very nicely. It could be that for them, and I'm hoping it does. I recommend watching this if you love creature features. Extra points if they're 90s ones. If you love when a horror movie homages other horror movies, from just the top of my head thinking now, they had like Predator, Aliens, The Thing, Gremlins. You know what I mean? Like, there's all that sort of stuff in there. If you don't mind creepy crawlies, this is a somewhat pro creepy crawly movie. I don't recommend watching this if you're arachnophobic. That's easy. This will not soothe those fears. There are some pretty gruesome scenes in this. There's a lot of venom. It's good, but if you don't like spiders, you won't like this. If you want a serious horror film, this is not a serious horror film, and it knows it's not a serious horror film. There are serious horror elements to it, but this is going for camp fun, and I think it nails that. If you want another horror movie that has a similar tongue-in-cheek vibe and is also about maligned creatures taken in as pets, you've got to check out the 1999 film Lake Placid. It's a fucking wild movie. It's a wild movie. It's about a giant man-eating crocodile who gets into a lake in Maine and just starts fucking eating motherfuckers. It's not a great movie, but it's one of my all-time favorite creature features because of how campy it is and how tongue-in-cheek it is, and there's some fucking unhinged dialogue in it. How did this get made? Did an episode on it, and it's a brilliant episode. It's really funny. But this movie is just so damn 90s. Like, it's so weird. It has Bill Pullman. It has Bridget Fonda. It has Betty White. It has Brendan Gleeson. And it is the ultimate, like, crack a few beers and have some laughs film. And I love it, even though I shouldn't. Another campy creature feature that I will defend till death. This will be my hill to die on, is fucking Gremlins 2, A New Batch. I love Gremlins 2. I love Gremlins 1 as well. But people give so much shit to Gremlins 2. I fucking love Gremlins 2. If you have seen Gremlins 2 and you haven't seen the Key and Peele sketch on Gremlins 2, go watch that shit right now. It's fucking funny. The movie came about because of the success of Gremlins 1, and Joe Dante didn't want to do a sequel, right? Like, he was like, I don't want to do a sequel. I'm done with Gremlins. And the studio went, okay, but we have this dump truck of money to give you. And he was like, all right, but I'm doing it real weird, and I'm doing it my way. And he did it his way. The story is basically one of the cutest creatures in horror, Gizmo. Fuck, I love Gizmo. Becomes the test subject of a bunch of malicious scientists in Manhattan, and Billy and Kate from the first one like try to get him back. It's so fucking campy, it's so fucking silly, and I adore it so fucking much. If picture a species of gremlin or a gremlin variant, it's in this movie. There is a sexy gremlin, there is a spider gremlin, there is a electricity gremlin. Hulk Hogan rocks up out of nowhere. Like, it is so tongue-in-cheek, this movie. It's so silly, and it knows it's silly. There's some, like, Batman symbol. Like, it's just good. It's just a fucking good movie. I just love Gremlins too. It's so fucking silly. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you tomorrow for another review. Peace.